Good evening, beautiful people of the internet. This is Seda Reda speaking at the Entrepreneur's Kitchen. It's going to be an awesome evening because I have at the other end of the line Romy Sigl. And Romy Sigl is a hero here in the Salzburg startup scene. She is the person, she's a cradle who brings people together, who makes ecosystems, and who just is an inspiring leader here in the startup ecosystem. Please welcome with me, Romy Sigl. Romy?
Hello, thank you so much, Seda, for having me tonight.
Oh, thank you so much for joining me because I know that you are just like me. You have a little kid, and you know this is their bedtime. so thankful for being so spontaneous. For joining the show. And also, Romy, you were one of the first people I got to know when we moved back to Salzburg after our journey. So it was really, really interesting and beautiful to see, what you have already built. And let's talk about food before we move on.
Sure. I have to admit, Seda, I live on the country, so maybe sometimes the connection breaks. But yeah, that's the downside of living in such a beautiful nature surrounding.
So let's just start talking about the food before we move on, because I have tons of questions I want to ask you.
Sure.
So what are you preparing?
What I'm cooking? So tonight I'm preparing an ice cream. You know what an ice cream is?
You mean an ice cream with an N?
Yes, an ice cream.
No.
An ice cream is made of some yellow ingredients. So I bring it to the table.
So it looks like she needs to move. Oh, okay. Of course.
Yogurt, bananas, but it's frozen bananas. I have it in my fridge. And some chocolate.
Nice. Cacao.
It's my, I use it instead of chocolate because it's really for sweet snacks in between, and it's great for an evening kind of.
Excellent. So it looks like we're both going for dessert. Actually, what I'm preparing tonight is a very Turkish thing, or probably southern. I'm sure it also the people in Iran probably have it as well. It's a rose marmalade. It's a marmalade made out of roses. So you need beautiful smelling, big rose, blossoms.
Wow.
Yesterday we went out and we picked lots of roses. You need approximately like 200 grams of only the blossoms, and then you put them in sugar overnight.
Okay.
Lots of sugar. And then I'm just going to cook it now with some lemon juice. So it's just roses, lemon juice, and sugar, but you have to wash them really well because there are lots of bugs in roses. It's a gross thing. So just to demonstrate, this is one of those beautiful roses smelling extremely well. Well, awesome. So food part is done. We cook as we go. Also, let me know people out there watching our stream tonight. We have Slido as usual. So if you want to ask Romy questions, please tune into Slido 35928. 35928 is our Slido code. You can ask Romy Sigl lots of questions. Romy, I know that you are one of the protagonists when it comes to stuff like people should do what they love. It's even on your profile picture in so many places. And you yourself also went through that kind of transformation. You had a, job, you were doing stuff, and then at some point you said, this isn't what I want to change my life. How do you find that kind of courage?
I was reflecting on that quite a long time, and I think I had a little bit of an advantage because I was in a situation where I had not a lot to lose. So I had a good job, but it was really badly paid. And from this perspective, I mean, of course, it could have gone bankrupt or something like that. So like not earning any money with what I do right now. But yeah, I think if I had been in a better job, like really well paid, then I think the step would have been a bigger one. So you know what I mean? So the disadvantage turned out to be an advantage for myself.
Yeah, so you say basically like if I earned more money, if the job was more comfortable, probably you wouldn't have changed.
Maybe, yes.
Oh, well, but I mean, sometimes people still leave things where there's a lot of comfort, and you meet those kinds of people also at your co-working space in Salzburg. So, I mean, what is the story usually? What is it that, or what is the moment when you start saying, okay, this was the right thing to do?
I think it's reflecting on it's typically generation Y. So why am I doing that? Why do I feel like being trapped in a prison by going to work 9 to 5, or better 9 to 10 o'clock in the night every day, having an all-in contract like a manager, and not really being respectfully treated. So I think this at being treated at eye level and this sort of self-value that you want to have back from people you surround yourself with, I think those are the key criteria why so many people then decide to either leave a good job or go into something that you don't know what will come out of it.
And do you think that, I mean, because a lot of startup people take these kinds of risks, they sometimes they leave comfortable jobs, sometimes they have so much pain in whatever they're doing, so they push themselves to the edges and start their own companies like you did. I mean, is it like, not all startups have, or people who start their own businesses, they have a comfortable position before they start doing what they actually want to do? And where does that point come where you say, I'm going to keep going, or I'm going to go back and search for a job? Have you ever had that moment?
Yeah, to be very honest here again, I very often still have nightmares of my former job. So for me, I never had this situation where I thought, let's go back, let's go and find a job. No, because this was really such a horrible experience for me that whatever will happen, I will find a way to stay self-employed.
Yeah, so you're like, I rather suffer for myself than suffering for others.
I'm an Aquarius. Being free is so important for me.
Yeah, but you also do so many different things in your co-working space. You wrote a book, you started an app, then you killed the app, then you know. So how do you go about doing so many different things?
It's in my nature. I cannot stop having ideas, and sometimes it's really annoying because I come back to the people in the co-working space. I call them kind of my team. We do a lot of projects together, but they are not my employees or something like that, because we are all like free birds. And sometimes it's really a pain when I come back and tell them, I have one more idea. You want to hear it?
Okay.
Yeah. Luckily, always they say, yes, please tell us. We want to hear what is coming up next.
And what were some of those ideas that came out of the co-working space where you're really proud of?
What I'm really proud of, because it's going on now since 2015, is an initiative that's called Fair Matching. We were sitting together having coffee in our kitchen, and it was back in the days when we had the refugee coming to Austria, and some of us went to the borders and tried to help. And then we said, okay, there should be a better way to support than just being at the border and having conversations with them, which is also great, but let's do something that is within our power, more impactful. And so we came up with the idea of having this initiative that through our network, we want to find jobs for the people who want to stay in Austria. So that in the end, they do not end up like all men being on building sites and all ladies working for McDonald's, but that the lawyer can work in a law company or in a law department, or that architect can work as an architect again. And I think this is what we can be very proud of, that it still exists, that we are now partnering with the AMS, the Austrian, I don't know what is the English word?
Business agency, some sort of like a, business market agency. Yeah,
because in the beginning we thought they are our competitors, but now we are cooperating with them, and also we are partnering with the Land Salzburg. So yeah, I think what we established here is really a fruitful service, and the difference compared to the official job seeking agency is that we really treat people as humans. We see them as at eye level. So we are really interested in what they did at home, what their dreams are. And so we made a lot of good connections and helped the companies to find great people and the people to find good jobs.
That's really awesome, because it's also the prerequisite for being really integrated into the societal life in the country where you're just very new, and things are really kind of difficult and sometimes horrific as well. I think that's a very noble thing to do. And what about other things? The book, for instance.
The book, I mean, we have so many current projects.
It's already old.
Yeah, it's so old, its age is old. We did a manual for people who want to start their own co-working space, and it's called Do What You Love, the Co-Working Guide to the Galaxy. So we summed up all the questions that we get from communities, from companies, from individuals who want to start their own co-working space. And it starts from how to find the right partner, how to equip the space, how to build up a community, how to do events. Yeah, it's all the things that I usually do in meetings where people want to come and just raise some questions. And at a certain point, I was like really bored of raising and answering all the questions, the same questions all the time. So we said, let's do a book.
I think that's a very good idea. we should consider doing something similar as well. And actually, there is already a question in Slido for you. It says, are you in the real estate business or in the business of creating communities? How does that feel to you sometimes?
That's a funny question, because I'm everything but a real estate company. I'm more a media production company. I'm more a psychologist. I'm more someone who is hosting people. But not in the real estate company. But I understand the question. Yeah, and we have real estate companies who want to be consulted by us, because it's somehow now a buzzword in this industry, that you put the name co-working on everything where you want to have something blossom, or where you have an empty space left. So you say, okay, let's do co-working. It's really a trending topic at the moment.
It's actually really interesting, because a couple of days ago, we had the managing director of Mitra in Germany and in Switzerland. And he said something really interesting. He said, we have to, after this crisis, we have to reconsider what work means and what a workplace actually is. So how is a co-working space affected by, crisis such as a pandemic?
It is definitely, because we are doing what you should not have done in the very beginning of the pandemic. So we stayed at home, and I was really thinking about how can I sustain my business without providing a space. And so we immediately came up with a solution. Now we do co-working digitally. We invite talented, innovative, and open-minded people to join us two times a week for a 1-hour meeting. And so we bring and bridge people from all over the world where we see potential, and already some very beautiful connections were made and some corporations are growing out of it already. So I'm prepared for the next pandemic or the second wave.
And when you say, people should talk to each other, what is that thing that makes a co-working space particularly interesting? Why should people go in more, co-working space like atmospheres rather than having their own office?
I think it's always very, there are many differences between co-working spaces out there. Some people that are watching right now may have been at the co-working space where nothing really magical happens. And this is somehow the secret sauce that we were not able to scale right now, because it's very, it's very depending on the culture that we created in the last 8 years. And the culture is basically described by being open-minded, to trust the people that come in and you have not met any time in your life before, and being very positive about all the beautiful people out there, and especially those who are entering the door.
And when you first started the co-working space in a city like Salzburg, which was definitely not prepared, for the people who are watching the stream, I mean, Salzburg is a beautiful, beautiful city, but not necessarily extremely change-oriented. And innovations sometimes are remarkably big, but in other areas that are, sometimes it can be a little more challenging to disseminate innovations. So how did you manage to kind of go to the heart of this city?
Yeah, good question. I was struggling with this one a long time, and I was thought, how could you make it everywhere? Because really, the positive thing about Salzburg is that it's so beautiful, that it's so quality driven, and that it's so comfortable to just go on with what we do, like tourism, like Sound of Music, like Mozart. And then for people like me, who in my nature is having ideas, doing and trying out new things and coming up with new ideas every day. And also I want to inspire people to do it together. And then it's very often very frustrating. But in the meantime, I see it really positive, because I rather like to be the exotic one.
Okay.
And being inside a crowd of where everyone is like me. So I find it really good to be different than most. Yeah.
But if you were to do this all over again, is there something you would do differently?
Yeah, I think I was very long time searching for a partner, like searching someone who somehow makes this move faster, quicker, bigger. And now I think it's all in me. I don't need a big partner who is telling me how the world works. It's all inside myself. I just need some time, and I do not have to scale fast, because I have all my lifetime and I'm living in a beautiful house. I'm not looking for the fast money, because what for?
Yeah, exactly. What for? So, I mean, so you were approached to scale the co-working idea within Austria before?
Yeah, I mean, we tried to do that through the app, the Yellow Desk, which stopped 1 year ago. And was asked to do that with corporates in Germany, in Munich, with companies in Salzburg. But in the end, it always turned out that if I want to really go on with what you love and really believe what I say, then I have to say no to all those opportunities because they are just making me not doing what I love.
Yeah, that's really important. There is another question on Slido that says, have you ever thought to go to other places with the co-working idea as well? And obviously you did. But also you mentioned the secret sauce that is very difficult to replicate elsewhere. Have you thought about this systematically? I mean, if I'm really interested in this notion of replicating a culture elsewhere.
So yes, we tried several things. We started a franchise manual, and we also did the co-working camps, which was our scenario of entering new markets. So we did this in the Arabic region. It was a format that brought together co-workers for a 1-week retreat. And the idea was to start the community through such a retreat and then find a space and then find some people who run it. And then, replicate, duplicate the concept through the world. And through the co-working camps where we invited co-working space founders with experience only, we found out that, the world is different in every place. So it's totally different if you do a space in Yemen or in Saudi Arabia or in Egypt, and at all the other locations like London or Berlin. That was not interesting for me because there I'm only me too,
Yeah, that's actually true. I mean, it's really, I think it's exactly what makes things scalable. So you have a system that can be replicated even if you're not in the room. But things that have this beautiful type of character obviously need certain people like yourself to drive the culture. But what do you think about places like WeWork?
I mean, WeWork is somehow what we do, but totally at all, it's not what we do, because Co-Working Salzburg, it is all about open innovation and open communities and trust. And when you enter WeWork, you first have to register, then you have to be then you are allowed to enter a certain area, and if you want to meet people in the other area, you have to ask for permission. So we are in the same segment, but we have a totally different culture.
So when you say it's about open innovation, what do you mean by that?
Yeah, the people who are really innovative in what they do, and they are entrepreneurs and they are creatives, they are startups. They are from very diverse fields that they sit together and come up with new ideas. And when the one is taking over the idea, the other one is not pissed, because this is what open innovation is about. And this is what we tell them. We're gonna share here at our lunch break. You have to be aware that this idea might pop up later somewhere else.
So it's also like, when people come to the co-working space in Salzburg, they can also collaborate with each other.
Of course. We have a format for that. It's called Food for Feedback. So you invite people for lunch, dinner, or for lunch break, and you bring the meal, and you have a certain challenge, and you invite the co-workers to give you some ideas and solutions. And then a lot of ideas are born through such a 1-hour event. And it's up to you. Either you want to cooperate and do it together, or you think, okay, this is a smart idea, let's try it. And maybe we work together later, but maybe not.
That's really cool. So what happened to your banana ice cream?
My banana ice cream is in the fridge for me. What happened to your roses?
Well, my roses are cooking like crazy, and it looks like it's going to take a little longer than we can finish the show. So let's talk about one last thing before we move on, because we're entering the last section of the conversation, and I want to know about this collaboration spirit within the co-working space. So you do, what are the things that you do exactly? So you do events, and then you bring people together, then you provide a community, food for, what did you call it? Food for feedback.
Feedback, yes.
That's lovely. And but you also have this dilemma about, you need to kind of fill a certain amount of desks, so people come and go. How do you deal with that?
Yeah, I mean, in the first years, this was really a challenge, and I was working a lot. I thought to myself that every night where we have no event going on, it's a waste of time, because I need to bring in people to get my rent financed. But I have to say that in the end, the hard work is paying off, because I think we are really one of the well-known co-working spaces in Austria. And we are still doing a lot of marketing content. So we are also having a bit different like you, but our weekly show, it's called the Good News Wochenschau. We invite co-workers to share what they do. We are focusing on the good news. And yeah, it's a lot of fun, because we have co-workers involved who love doing production work, who love doing the camera stuff, who love to do research about good news. And I'm so happy that I found those people. And I think this is only possible through the co-working network, because here you throw ideas and then some people come and say, yes, I'm in, let's do it together.
That's really, really awesome, because it's the power of having a good community who can just help you, or who can co-create the things, together, and everybody owns it and everybody has a share. And I think it's really, really a beautiful thing to be doing. Well, we're almost at the end.
You didn't ask me the one question I prepared myself for.
Oh, okay. Well, let's ask that question to yourself. Please do it.
So you asked me what are the ingredients for a better future.
Oh, yes. So you awesome. What are your ingredients for a better future, Romy?
Yeah, it's correlating with my nice cream. So the main ingredient is the yogurt, and in my better future recipe, it's the yogurt is the cooperation. So it's the basis for everything, because I'm so over now where we get better through competition. I think it's now in the point of history where we are better when we share, when we work together. Because the progress we did in the last 100 years was enormous, and now I think it's time to sustain. Cooperation is a great way to sustain and use the resources that we have available instead of disturbing each other. So this is the cooperation. Then we have the banana, and the banana is reflecting, because when you think an old banana, and it's not so old yet, but when it turns browner, most of the people throw it away. But there is a lot of potential in every human, and so the banana is for me the symbol for the humans out there. And if you have a brown banana, don't throw it away, put it in the fridge, and then you can make later a nice cream.
Nice cream.
So number 2 is the reflecting. So reflect on people. Maybe they were never asked to do what they love to do. They just had to perform. And then people like brown bananas, but they are still made for something. And then the third ingredient is the bio cacao. And my 3 ingredients, it's the dialogue, and to be more about not being right, but to have the capability not being right, but to learn.
Yeah,
this
absolutely.
Is really important for our future, and better is really hard to say, because better for whom? It's better for me, it's better for a majority, or it's better for all of us. And I would prefer to have a scenario where we include everyone.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dialogue is really important.
I couldn't have agreed more. I think it's really a historic moment in our lives. I'm hoping that through the actions we take right now, we're going to leave a better future for our children. We need to fight these enemies that are trying to keep us from being one as humanity, that are trying to disturb the connections, that are trying to make our hearts into stones, but just be really open-hearted, warm-hearted, share with each other, which are all things that you're doing so beautifully at the co-working space in Salzburg. I'm really, really grateful that you joined. And this was
the chocolate, because chocolate is dialogue and it makes everything much better.
So put chocolate in everything, and also, put some humor in everything, which is the part we love doing at the end of the show. So what do you have in your box for me?
So, Sida, have you ever heard about this?
About what?
Wait a moment. So there was at a certain point a parentpreneur. You know what a parentpreneur is, right?
Well, like a helicopter mom?
Like a startup mother or startup father. So a parentpreneur.
Okay.
You know what? He or she was asked, what is your hobby?
What and? I don't have a hobby.
For me, that's the most funniest thing I've ever heard.
Oh, like having a hobby for a motherpreneur, parentpreneur. Yeah, we don't have the time to have hobbies. We do love what we love, so therefore we don't need hobbies.
Why we don't need a hobby, right?
Exactly, absolutely. Life is the hobby. Well, I have a much less profound joke in the in the background for you today. Why do you never see elephants hiding behind trees?
No one is seeking them?
No, because they're really good at it.
Ah.
Well, you can tell this to Matteo, to your little son. He'll love it. Our 2-year-old loves it too. Well, Romy, I want to thank you so much. And I want to also thank you for all the work you're doing for the Salzburg community here. And looking forward to reconnecting soon in real life. And let me just say bye-bye to all the people who watched our stream tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in. Tomorrow is a holiday in Austria, so we will be sleeping tomorrow night much earlier than today, taking a day off. And we're looking forward to seeing you on Friday. And please stay as one, stay as a whole, open your hearts in the meantime for everything that can just blink at you from, from nice corners. Romy, once again, thank you so much. Stick around for a short after show party. Good night, guys.